Hello students, how are you doing? So hope you are doing fine. So I am here to make you learn the Python language. Nowadays Python is very popular and it is very important to learn language. And many times I have heard that students are facing a lot of problem with programming language. So let us make programming simple and fun. So let us see what will be the best way to learn Python. So first of all, what is a language? So language is one of the strongest medium of communication. Without language, we cannot communicate to anybody. So language is very important. We cannot speak to someone. We cannot express anything. We cannot communicate with the people. So language is very important. So what is the purpose? Communication, to express feelings, to exchange information, to give orders, to give instructions, and for all worldly purposes, we use language. So what is the purpose of programming language? So communication with machine. If we know the programming language, so we can communicate with machines. To make machine understand what task has to be done. Means if you understand the programming language, you can get the work done by the machine. To give instructions to machine. So if you know the language of human, you can give instructions to human being and they can easily understand. Similarly, if you know how to give the instructions to a machine so that it exactly works as you like, so you have to understand the programming language. Now, important elements of language. So what are the two most important elements? The first one is syntax. Syntax means grammar. So you must be knowing the grammar, otherwise you may write a sentence which is wrong. Semantics. The meaningful word or phrase is called semantics. So means we have to learn two main things. The first one is syntax or grammar. The other thing is meaningful word or phrase. When you are writing something, so whether it is meaningful or not. So what are the different types of computer languages? Machine language, assembly language, high level language, object oriented language. Now next, machine language. So machine language is the only language that a computer understands. It takes binary form, string of 0 and 1, means all the signals which are given to the computer is basically a string of 0 and 1 only. It doesn't understand any other thing other than signal off and on state. And it is very difficult to learn and difficult to program. And it has one more serious drawback. It is machine architecture dependent. Machine architecture dependent means, so every CPU architecture will have different machine language. Means if a programmer who is very good at one architecture will fail on another architecture. Writing instruction was extremely difficult. It was not a language of common people. A very special person, means who is like scientist or who knows about all the architecture of the CPU, like the control unit and all. So memory, all has to be well understood. Otherwise, you will not be able. Difficult to understand by common people. So it was very difficult to write program using machine language. So these are the, actually I have just taken the example to show you that how the machine instructions are written. So this is in the form of 0 and 1. So suppose all the first instruction 000 is for stop program. If this instruction passes through the circuitry, so program stops. So this is an example ki how you have to write the code. Assembly language. So what was the need of assembly language? Assembly language is one step easier than machine language. So one level easier than machine language. it uses mnemonic codes instead of string of 0 and 1. So it is simplified. Basically, you could have write the mnemonic codes. Like if you want to add something, so add was the mnemonic code for that. Difficult to learn and program. It was also difficult because a lot of mnemonics you have to learn, machine architecture dependent. So it has the same problem that if a person who is a good programmer on one architecture will fail on another architecture. Writing instruction was extremely difficult to understand by common people. There was a need to develop a language so that programming can become easy for common people. So assembler software is used to convert assembly language code into machine language. Since machine language is directly understandable by the computer, but assembly language is of different form, so it need to be converted into machine language. So this is basically the example of assembly language code. So these are the mnemonics on the left hand side: add a comma byte, add c. So all these are basically examples. High level language. High level languages are very easy to understand. It uses simple English like instruction. A common person can write program. Machine architecture independent means if a person has written a programming in high level language, so it can run on different architecture. Different architecture means if there are different manufacturers of CPU, so machine architecture dependent means if a program is developed for Intel CPU, so it will not run on another. But high level language is machine architecture independent. So this is one of the biggest advantage also. So writing instruction is extremely easy. Compiler and interpreter software is used to convert high level language code to machine language. Since high level language cannot be directly understood by the computer, so we need these translators. So high level languages are BASIC, Fortran, Pascal, COBOL, C. And there is another category which is object oriented: Ada, C++, Java, Python, C hash. So object oriented programming languages reduces the complexity of a program. If we are just going to build a large project, so in that case, this procedural programming is